What's up, guys? Happy 4th of July to those of you in the US. I definitely had some fun going to the neighborhood block party, lighting some fireworks, enjoying some time with the neighbors. But I also made some progress on VibeScan today, and I figured since I'm in the thick of it, working on the code, building these features, why don't I just share some of the ways in which I'm actually writing code nowadays? I think I'll actually turn this into a longer video on my main channel, but I thought it would be interesting to just document at this point in my journey as well. So just opening my project as it is right now, the first thing you'll notice is that I'm not looking at any actual code right now. Why is that? I have all of these markdown files that describe different phases of the project. Right here, I'm looking at some project plan, and on the right, I have some code review going on. And the thing is, this is how I code nowadays. It's nothing like I used to code even just a few months ago, and absolutely nothing like I used to code 2 years ago. Most of my coding is really just product management at this point, where I have to think through the features, and I work with AI to refine those features and define a very technical plan. And then I execute on that plan and I review the code and then I re-review the code. Let me actually walk you through the steps that I take. So the first thing I do is figure out the actual feature that I want to build. Next, I actually ask the AI to create a plan for implementing that feature. Once we actually have a plan, the next thing I do is manually review it and ensure that it is technically accurate. And I also make sure that the plan is technical in nature and not something that's purely product oriented. Once I'm actually happy with the plan, I ask the AI agent to implement that plan and I reference the specific markdown document. And once it's finished, I ask it to create a status document. And usually it basically says, I did everything in the plan. But if it had to take some kind of different approach, it'll note those details in here. And then once it's done and I have this status document, I can actually compare, let's see, what it said in the status versus the original plan. So step 5 is to ask a separate AI agent to review the actual work, compare the files in the repository to the actual plan and see where do we stand. And then I have it create a review file. Oftentimes it will actually identify some missing pieces and then I just ask that same AI agent to implement the fix for those. Or if it's something bigger, I kind of ask it to create a new working plan and then I have a separate agent implement that. But eventually, as you repeat this loop, you get to a point where the review is basically clear. The AI agent thinks that everything looks good. It looked through all the files. It meets all the requirements in the plan, which was quite technical and detailed in the first place, and the feature should be complete. At that point, I test the feature and review the actual code. I try to see if there are any bugs or if it doesn't align to what I had in mind. And oftentimes there are still some issues, so I try to identify those and I ask AI to fix them. If I can figure out exactly what's wrong and I can tell the AI to fix that, it can often do that without me actually modifying the code myself. Once the issues are all fixed and I'm happy with the code, I have the AI actually update the status document and the review to kind of get everything settled and booked away. That way I can reference it in the future, and I also feel confident that we've implemented everything that we need. I'll usually commit the code at this point and move on to the next feature. So just to show you some of this in action, I was recently working on a feature to add projects to VibeScan so you could scan different repositories. And I had the AI come up with this plan. This is after multiple iterations going back and forth and refining it, where it details all the specific endpoints that we need, what the data structures look like, security considerations, and then I broke it down into different phases. So we have the data layer, then we're going to do front end, back end, and I actually had separate AI agents working on each of these phases and then creating their own different status reports. So here I have phase 1 status, where we have, this is already a complete feature, so obviously things are kind of checked off, but after it completed that, I had it do a review, and at first it wasn't perfect. So I had to iterate, and once we finished phase 1, we went on to phase 2. And yeah, it's ultimately just a lot of this document sort of creation, and that's why I call it document-driven development. It's definitely very different from traditional coding. And of course, a big invisible part of all this is me reviewing the code and making sure that it's accurate, going back and forth with the AI to fix any issues, and verifying that everything is completed correctly. But in general, it's a pretty crazy new approach to building software. I'm enjoying it, I am refining it, and I'll make a bigger video on my main channel about it. Anyhow, I'm getting really close to completing the initial version of VibeScan. It'll be out in the next couple of days, and I'm really excited to share it with you when it's ready. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.